What is up, family? Wait, that was before the camera's sick. What's up, what's up, what's up? Let me get my rock. It's time for Shoot Around. It's time for NBA Shoot Around. This is where we talk about all the interesting topics, all of the urgent topics in the National Basketball Association. Now, first and foremost, Joel Embiid shocked me when he made this quote. I'm going to let y'all read it as I read it along with you. Joel Embiid said, "I just want to win a championship, whatever it takes." I don't know where that's going to be, whether that's in Philly or anywhere else. Slick, are you okay with Joel Embiid's comment?
I am not at all. First of all, we both know Philadelphia. We know Philadelphia fans. You don't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out when it comes to the 76ers. And secondly, this is suggesting that you have to go someplace to win a championship. Like, you're part of the reason why you haven't got close enough to this point.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Like, don't you believe that Joel Embiid is, in fact, the reason that many would say you haven't already won a championship? The championships will go where you go, Embiid, in theory.
At least part of that. And it's not as if they haven't kept moving pieces around, trying to rebuild. It's not as if they haven't spent money. This is the problem that I have ultimately with Joel, is that he doesn't always take into account that you are the best player on this team. You are the MVP. Your words resonate. You can't just be thinking off the top of your head. You have to understand the message that you're sending to the fans and the rest of the team. Yeah. Like, if James Harden is questioning whether he should stay or go, and he finds out you're questioning whether you should stay or go, that's not how you develop a championship team. What else does Joel
Embiid need? America, I'm confused, and he will help answer this for me. He had a true point in Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons was literally a pass-first player because he refused to even look at the rim. He's had a superstar teammate now in James Harden. You got guys that are dedicated to defense in P.J. Tucker. You got young rising stars in Maxey. You've got guys who you know you can trust as a number 3 or a number 4 in Tobias Harris. What else does he need? He had a championship coach. I don't know what else.
This is the truth. He needs to grow up. He needs to mature.
Wow.
He needs to understand that I am the piece, and we're going to build it here, and I'm going to fashion myself. I am going to construct myself so that I can be the best player on a championship team. You don't do that by going out and saying, well, I want to win a championship. In fact, he even went to say, like, he's already thinking about the next one. Dude, get the first one and say, I can bring it here.
Really good point.
If we put it together.
Well, speaking of getting the first championship in Phoenix, reports say that Bradley Beal, who was partnered up with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the new-look Phoenix Suns, he's going to run point. Bradley Beal, a player who was 26th in the National Basketball Association last year in assists per game. Bradley Beal, a player who I believe 5.5 assists is his highest number. Bradley Beal, a player with 2 30-point seasons in the last 4 years. Only 4 players have that kind of aggregate scoring, and you're telling me he wants to be a pass-first guy?
Well, I don't understand this at all. I'll be honest with you. I don't. Because he's always played with a true point guard. John Wall, Russell Westbrook, for the most part. We've seen Devin Booker have to take this role. And in fact, you could make the case that they won the 2 games against the Nuggets with him running the show and Chris Paul off. He has been building toward this, and it's Devin Booker's team. Like, why are we bringing the guy in from the outside and we're saying we're going to give you the rock and you're going to organize everything, especially when he's never played with 2 scorers of the like of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I wish I could tell you I understand what the thinking is, but I really don't.
Is the only logic that of those 3 superstar scorers, Beal, Booker, and Durant, that you would rather have Durant and Booker taking the majority of the shots? So if Beal's running point, at least that means Book and Durant will be the primary shooters. But if Book's running point, that means Beal and Durant would be the primary shooters. Is that the only logic?
I suppose if you're going to make an argument, you could make that. But what we saw with Devin when he was the point guard, when Chris Paul was injured, he was pushing the pace in order to get his shots and still be able to distribute. So again, Devin Booker is farther down the line of understanding, how do I get Kevin Durant involved? How do I feed DeAndre Ayton? How do I keep everybody happy? Bradley Beal, it's going to be a learning process from the start.
Well, the next topic is chaos. Pure and absolute chaos. What is going on with Dame Lillard? We went through a whole weekend where we know the superstar trailblazer wants to be traded, and he wants to go to the Miami Heat. That's the only place he wants to go, but it's been all quiet in the trailblazer front. What's going on there?
Have you been waiting for this to happen so that you can go on vacation? Is that what it is? I would say, my friend, go ahead, go on vacation, okay? Because there's no urgency right now. The terms have basically been set. The parameters have been established in terms of what it's going to take. Talk to people around the league. Nobody else is coming in trying to take Damian Lillard. They know he wants to go to Miami. They're not going to make a better offer than the Miami Heat have. The key is going to be finding a first-round pick or a home for Tyler Hero, because the Portland Trail Blazers are already loaded up with athletic scorers in the backcourt. They don't have a need for him. I expect that Miami will get it done. It may not be on our timeline. If you need some time off, go ahead and take it. We'll get it done when you get back.
Let's have the dialogue that I don't think people are nuanced enough to have on television, and here it is. Dame might be too kind, too nice to do what it takes to get what he wants. You referenced Saquon Barkley. We'll talk more about him later. Superstar player who also hasn't gotten what he wants in football.
No.
But Dame, I don't think, has enough selfishness in him to sit out if the Blazers season were to start, to sit out when Blazers camp starts, to sit out and say, you know what, I refuse to play for Portland. Remember, thus far, he only requested a trade.
Right.
He didn't demand a trade.
Right.
He requested a trade. Does Dame have the selfishness it takes to get what he wants?
It's a great question, and honestly, I don't think that he does. I think that he would show up for work. But the Portland Trail Blazers have too much at stake to play that kind of chicken with a guy that means as much as Damian Lillard has to the Portland Trail Blazers and their fan base. People I know up in Portland, they're like, hey, look, Dame wants to go. He's served us well. Let's turn the page. Let's make it happen. I don't sense that there is a groundswell in Portland of people who are saying, Damian is doing us wrong. You're under contract. Show up and play.
Okay, I got one more for you. This was the most fascinating thing I saw all weekend, because I always read into things like this. Kyrie Irving, you know he got handles, but I was surprised to see LeBron James share on his own Instagram story to over 130 million followers that Kyrie is, in fact, the best player with the ball in his hands we've ever seen. LeBron James gonna share it and say, ever. What do you make of that? Just friends supporting friends, or should we read into it?
Well, I mean, I could read into it and tell you that's another jab at Steph Curry and that little rivalry that's going on there. But no, look, I would agree with him in terms of handle and be able to move with the ball. Kyrie Irving, I don't have a problem putting him at the top of that list. When you say this is the best player with the ball in his hands, it's not just what you can do with it while you have it, but what can you do when you're handing it off to somebody else? That's the shortcoming.
Are we better off having not seen a sequel to LeBron and Kyrie? So often we beg for sequels in society. I want this movie to come out with the sequel. I want this movie to come out with the trilogy. But the sequel always lands flat. The last time we really saw LeBron and Kyrie, it was championship caliber. You come back from down 3-1, 17, you see what LeBron goes on to do when Kyrie and LeBron inevitably part ways. Is it best that we don't have a fall flat memory of the two?
Without question. Because what made that combo work then was that LeBron James could be that guy that I was just talking about, not just handling it, but what he did when he distributed it. That kept Kyrie in that perfect sweet spot. LeBron is still capable of being a very effective, powerful player, but he's not that anymore.
Let me get this joint out my hands. You see that pass? He scored that bucket off camera. Coming up.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.